Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with the Heroes Hype Team Amateur League. And wow, winners finals already. That's a few short hours ago. We were just starting out with our, I believe, 19 teams that signed up, which surprisingly is almost more than you get on an ESL Community Cup, which is funny in my eyes. But a lot of up-and-coming teams want to show off their talent. They're here in a safe environment, getting some competitive experience, and some of them getting the spotlight, like Actions Permitted and Happy Fairy Dragons here, as we're about to jump into game number 2, Miss Anna.
Yeah, it's been fantastic watching them and getting to cast with you. Like I said, this is kind of amateur league for me as well. One of the first actual lengthy tournaments I've ever casted, so I appreciate the good feedback and encouragement I'm getting, and of course hanging out with you. And thanks to HeroesHype for having me.
It's absolutely our pleasure. You're doing fantastic. Keep up the good work. So, Actions Per Minute just took it. The last game, 1-0, because it was the first game. It is a best of 3, which means this is match point for them. And we're going to Dragonshire for our draft. And the draft has actually started. So I say, let's jump on over to that, miss. And it was Faerie Dragons with the first pick.
And the first ban actually was Rhaegar. That's an interesting first ban. I haven't seen him banned
Wasn't the ban
at
last
all.
game?
Was he? Maybe.
Relatively sure it was a regular.
Well, then aside from that. So yeah, interesting first ban. And the first ban from Actions Per Minute is Zeratul, which we have seen quite a bit. Pretty standard there. Any thoughts on either of those?
Zeratul with the Void Prison can, just like a Zagara, can actually reset some of the fight, right? Because you take people out of the fight and now you're fighting with a man or 2 or 3 or 4 down. A 5-man Void Prison could absolutely be devastating. But on Dragonshire, you can also use it to capture out shrines, capture out merc camps, although you have to kind of do that a little bit different now because they did nerf that capacity. But you can also throw it up in the mid and trap whoever's contesting you for the dragon, and then channel it, and by the time it comes down, you're in the Dragon Knight suit. You've put on the suit, so... It's not a bad ban whatsoever from Actions Per Minute, and I think they've had some salty experiences with it in the past.
Because I know they made some changes to Void Prison where it would pause the channeling of a merc camp so that you couldn't just go in and steal it. You had to wait and then go channel it after the Void Prison ended. Is it the same for the Dragon Knight now, or is the Dragon Knight still the old way where you could sneak in behind?
So if you want to capture the dragon and somebody's contesting, you can Void Prison to stop them and then grab it. But if somebody else is grabbing it, you can still Void Prison to interrupt it. But yes, to pause it, I suppose, is the best way to say it. Because it'll start resuming when you're done. So it's a delay tactic. Nonetheless, it's a great team fight tool. Because if you catch people unawares, it's a lot of setup time that you can now surround your opponents and take them home. And the Faerie Dragons, I mean, they got a taste of that game number 1. So we'll have to see what they can do game 2. But they do bring an ETC to the board.
Yeah, and interesting, we are not seeing first pick Stitches. And I'll be interested to see who, if anyone, will be pulling Stitches out because, as we've mentioned, he's going to show up in a lot of games.
Yeah, he is definitely amongst the better of the warriors right now because of a multitude of changes this last patch. Tyrael, Arthas, Chen, Nubarak, very scarce in these woods, but it's also not a first pick Nazeebo, so Actions Per Minute jump all over that, and once more they have this combo of the Nazeebo Malfurion. Some great AoE damage and some great AoE healing.
And then moving back over to Happy Fairy Dragons, we see Sergeant Hammer coming out early again. So that Sergeant Hammer early for them last time, didn't work out so well. It
didn't, you're right. But there's a big difference there as well. They had a Zagara on Actions Per Minute. So Sergeant Hammer, Uther, ETC, it's almost exactly what we saw last time. The ETC was on the other side, but Sergeant Hammer, Uther was there for the Happy Fairy Dragons in game number 1. It wasn't enough. They weren't able to peel hard enough. We'll have to see if they can here. Sergeant Hammer is a fantastic pick on this map overall because of the range upgrades and the Napalm Strike, and then level 20, the Nexus Frenzy. You can get up to 18 range, 18 in-game range. An auto attack from any ranged character is no bigger than 6.5, which means you're basically tripling attack damage range with that siege mode and all the upgrades. So it's a fantastic pick. But he did get countered. We're going to have to see what actions per minute can do about it this round. They do take a Vala and a Tyrande. And the Tyrande there with the owls, with the lunar blaze, and the starfall, that could actually stop a hammer in her tracks.
Yeah, maybe not putting them in the maw, but certainly making her less viable. And then we get to complement that hammer, to protect the hammer. We see Uther and Thrall coming out. Is this the first Thrall we've seen?
This is the first Thrall we've seen, and haven't seen a Thrall in a while. Absolutely not in a while. And Fairy Dragons with the deny pick of Zagara. We saw this combo earlier. We did. We saw this. We saw a bottom lane hammer Zagara. Who was that? The Rhaegar Targaryens.
Right.
They ran that in the bottom lane.
Interesting.
We'll have to see.
And the last pick.
Yeah. The last pick. I don't know how it got that far. Stitches won't play. And they might not have the Zagara. There's a ban on the Zeratul, so there's no big AoE disables because there's a Mosh Pit and an Uther on the Happy Fairy Dragons. So there's no AoE disables whatsoever except maybe a Rain of Vengeance from actions per minute. But Stitches with a hook could ruin your day.
Oh, yeah. Ruin a hammer's day particularly. It doesn't matter that you're in a tank. You can still get hooked and pulled right over into Stitch's big, ugly belly.
You think it's
That
ugly?
is somewhere you do not want to be.
Some people think it's cute.
I mean, I guess beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
True enough. Absolutely true.
I would like to see a cute Stitch's skin. I would like to see like rainbows, hearts, and ponies, and like no gore Stitches. I would buy that.
So I don't remember who I was talking to about it, but pajama skins. Everybody needs a pajama skin.
Yes, I have said that too. We need a full pajama party skin week where everybody gets pajamas.
So pajama skin Stitches.
Yes. Oh my gosh. You wear little bunny slippers. Amazing.
Bunny slippers.
Yeah.
Oh man, that would be something.
He would wear a nightcap too for sure. Like the Christmas one,
Yep. No, I get it. The nightcap for sure.
Yeah.
So skins aside, our team comp's going back and forth. Actions per minute again, drafting very solidly, picking up again their double support with the Tyrande, but they also have that shred available for the Vala for any auto attacks with the Hunter's Mark. But Happy Fairy Dragons, a very solid draft again. Now, we talked a little bit about Thrall. Thrall did receive nerfs this patch. He lost battle momentum at level 7, which was a key thing for the Wind Fury build. And he also had damage scaling go down on 2 abilities, and the scaling actually was down as well on his Frostwolf resilience. So he could no longer heal himself for as much as he did, as often as he did, and he doesn't deal the burst that he did.
Yeah. Thrall was like that celebrity who made that hit single and was hot for like a minute, and then everyone forgot about him. But now he's back. He's making his comeback in this game.
He's Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, there you go. He's Macaulay Culkin and it.
Oh, man. Oh, that is not the right button. This button. I don't actually know if that screws up. Oh, it does. All right. We're going to quickly go through all my scenes because that is how this works.
Behind the scenes.
Yep.
Tour.
Not looking good for forecourt at all. There we go. You up. Oh, and it reset. I'm not going to have a victory screen. All right. Whatever. Miss Anna, please tell us, what are we going to see on Dragonshire?
We are going on to Dragonshire, which, if you're just joining us, well, if you're not just joining us, then you certainly know this map because we played quite a bit on it. But if you don't, just a quick review. We have a sun shrine and a moon shrine there at the top and the bottom of the map. If your team channels and claims those 2 shrines, then the Dragon Knight statue in the middle of the map will begin to glow your color, and you are able to channel to put on the Dragon Knight suit, as we've been calling it. The reason we call it that is that you get to become the Dragon Knight, and you have a whole health bar that you get to use as you see fit, with special abilities like breathing fire and punting, as well as doing tons and tons of damage to structures and the like. Looks like we're gonna have our Let's see. Actions per minute lining up 2 or 3 or 4 in mid. 5 in mid, actually, at the moment.
They'll split.
Fight well, heroes.
I do have to apologize. I really screwed up the overlay there, but it's all good now. And yes, all the go for it.
I don't know what Meadowtown is saying about me ignoring him. Sorry, Meadowtown. I didn't hear you. Sorry.
Tyrande gets taken out. No happy ending there. And there goes Zagara as well. A 1-for-1 trade, and the end of it. Oh, and ETC does take one more arrow to his knee and drops as well. Curious how we had a 5v4 in the mid lane. That is not something we see a lot of. But the strategy there was basically actions per minute. Like, well, we can probably catch someone as they face check this bush. Unfortunately, we found 4 of the enemy team, and they still paid off with it. 2-for-1 by the end. A little bit of an experience boost, but look at that. I mean, even those early kills, there's barely an experience difference.
And able to do that team fight and then quickly get in lanes, meaning they didn't really lose anything for that engagement, which is good. Losing experience at this point in the game is not something.
But it's also very minimal because experience scales as you scale, and at this point, yeah, I'm just watching my at this point, yeah, a team fight early, like level 1 team fight, losing out, even if you get kills, it's better to be soaking than it is to actually have a level 1 team fight, just from pure number wise.
Right. It looks like the Happy Fairy Dragon's able to activate that Dragon Friend right away. Stray on ETC is the only one here in the middle able to grab it, and it looks like he's not going to be able to as Meadowtown and Stitches comes to contest. And we also had Vala down there as well, who's leaving because she feels like Stitches can handle it by his own hungry self.
Hungry Stitches.
It looks like Vala and the 3 bottom are probably going to try to take one of those shrines, but they have not been successful yet. They're keeping pretty zoned out by this the Siege Bros comp that I guess it'd be the Siege Sisses comp that we've seen twice tonight. The Zagara and Sergeant Hammer.
Yeah, the Zagara Sergeant Hammer together is a pretty early game push lane, but you can shut it down by just paying attention to it. You know, putting some people that can do damage and can deal with that down there, so you can mitigate it for sure. Meadowtown is trying to do his best to interrupt the Battle Cow, who is trying to put on the dragon suit. And going back and forth, that's a very big wet noodle fight, but I mean,
yes.
Stray is just forcing the attention of Stitches every time by forcing them into that fight, and they're not going to get a dragon. They will lose a tank in the bottom lane because, again, if you pay attention to it, early game Hammer is not the hardest thing in the world to defeat. The other problem, however, is that they got Thrall top, and Thrall is also very hard to defeat.
And does take down Vala. But at this point in the game, those kill timers are not too long, so they will be back now.
No. 5 seconds, 10 seconds, what are we, level 6? Yeah, it's like a 10 or 15 second res timer. It's not that much. It's not that bad, as you said. So Red has maintained top. Red is trying to wrestle back bottom, but if they don't have somebody to kind of shield in the mid, you need 2 people in order to confirm that you're going to get a Dragon Knight in the mid. And you have a little window to do it. I mean, Sage here is not going to let Stray whatsoever get it, and that lets us have enough time for Meadowtown in the top to go grab it, whereas the rest of everyone's just merrily fighting away into the bottom. You don't need to control both. You just need to control one if you want to remove that threat of a break.
And while you're doing this, you've just got to make sure that you're soaking all the possible experience you can. You're not losing anything as long as the enemy team is not getting a Dragon Knight and you're not losing XP. And as we can see, both these teams, again, very evenly matched. They're both at level 7 and both at very similar levels of XP.
In fact, the kill that we had top of Thrall versus Vala was actually worth more in the end because now it's Happy Fairy Dragons with the level advantage. Because Vala was level 5 or so when she died, and nobody was there to pick up the soak, that's how they were able to come back and now put the lead in their favor.
Right, and we see that tick-tock, that seesaw, that back and forth on these shrines where...
Seesaw, I like that.
where no one is able to have the Dragon Shrine illuminated long enough or without someone bothering them in order to get the dragon.
Yep, and the teams know it. At this point, since really nothing is kind of giving, I mean, we've had some kills on the sieges into the bottom lane, but you see this gate on the left? You know, it's not very hurt whatsoever. because there's 3 people in the party lane, because they're dealing with the siege damage. There's very little building push going on, and they're mitigating that. And everybody's soaking. We're likely, unless something radically happens in the next few seconds, we're likely to see a level 10 fight.
It looks like the actions per minute team kind of thought, okay, maybe this is our moment to push for the Dragon Knight. Let's leave that bottom party lane and see if we can grab it. They were too slow, and the shrine at the bottom went to Happy Fairy Dragon along with the shrine at the top.
Oh, that was actually really key right there. Meadowtown left top lane and blind hooked into the ETC who was channeling the dragon because he had 4 team members of APM bottom lane in order to secure that bottom shrine. So very key kind of things going back and forth, you know? Even left alone, the ETC got hooked out of it, and there was nobody left to contest him there, and they finally took the shrine back. So we do got the ultimates on both sides going back and forth. It looks like it's going to be Reign of Vengeance this time for the Vala rather than Strafe. And that's, you know, again, bigger AoE stuns can actually lead into a lot more. Oh, that Maw, the Maw bottom lane. Panda Jigu's getting in position. There's the concussive blast, puts Mr. Savage in his own zombie wall. And that's going to be a stage dive coming in here from Stray. The team queuing from this Malfurion has absolutely massive. Kept Mr. Savage up during that entire thing. And no kills, but they did use quite a few heroics in order to try to grab them.
This is kind of a cool thing to see, this Clash of Titans style game where it does go back and forth and back and forth. No team able to take the Dragon Knight, and no team able to do anything else but defend or try. It kind of has a little bit of a classic MOBA feel with that lane clashing over and over, which is interesting and different than a lot of the games we've been watching tonight. Because
this game is not really set up for that classic feel, right? It is all about the timing, all about the objectives, looking for, you know, maximizing your advantages. You know, if you get a kill now versus 10 seconds from now, is there a bigger advantage to that? So Stray actually did show us that he took stage dive, so that's going to give him some good global presence, but we also don't have the mosh pit ready to go. So, you know, you pay a little, you get a little. It is the nature of choosing between the two ultimates. We always assume it's going to be mosh pit, but in this case, ETC has decided global pressure is going to be a better fit for his team. And right now, looking at the bottom lane, they get that 1 kill, Blue backs off, and down goes that gate immediately.
So do you feel like either team, although we've seen very, very even pushing, we're seeing pretty even XP, maybe a little bit on the side of Happy Fairy Dragons right now, do you feel like there's an advantage that is going to be slowly swinging toward one team as we approach the mid and late game?
It comes down to how quickly we can wombo combo. And Tyrande actually gets denied there with that Devouring Maw. So her healing ward lives, but she did not. If we can get the 8 actions per minute wombo off, then I think that they have a better chance of taking the game. Because they got roots, they got stuns, they got hooks and gorges, all into Reign of Vengeance and Ravenous. That's a really big stack of damage. But at the same time, if they can't deal with this push, they're going to be playing from behind the entire time, and the double siege is just going to kind of take the cake. So it's still up in the air, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, we have seen that double siege, if managed correctly and allowed to grow into the late game, be very, very strong. So I guess it's just a matter of who is going to protect their interests best until they grow up to be big and strong.
Well, losing out that Stitches in the mid because he was moving in to kind of deny Stray here. He got caught, which led Sage to be playing a little bit more defensively because he didn't want to overextend, which led us into the Battle Cow. Getting in the Dragon, he is now Battle Cow 2.0, and Uther actually gets caught. Oh, yeah, Battle Lizard, yeah. So
Battle Cow becomes Battle Lizard.
Is this Pokemon now?
Yes.
So Battle Cow went in. ETC got into the suit, took out 2 towers, and then lost Uther and lost all of his hit points. The collapse was actually phenomenal here from actions per minute. They could have lost a lot more on the back of that, but they didn't. They were able to collapse, get a kill, and force off the dragon. So there's no threat of a dragon for 2 minutes. And level 14 going into 15, they're looking for the last talent here for their completed builds. And next fight is definitely going to be 16, at least on one team, if not both. Actions are still behind, though. So, strength in numbers. How many solos are you seeing on the board?
Not so many forecourt Jester.
Well, you see Zagara down south, but she's running away. So that doesn't count.
They're trying not to be so.
Right. If action stays together, strength in numbers, and they don't lemming anything, they still can take this.
Yeah, and interestingly, I mean, that was our first Dragon Knight. So, 10 minutes into the game, we have only seen one. And now it's our first kind of respite from that, where the teams are going, okay, where do we take our advantages? Making sure they have all their merc camps, making sure they're defending against the other team. And Dragon Knight should be up again soon, and we'll see whether one team has an advantage that they can push to grab it maybe a little sooner this time.
Well, they're going to be pushing now. That's a great hook. Bringing a CEO over. It's like, what's up, dude? And unfortunately, he's going to go down to the roots there of Malfrian. But Stray, oh my god, that devouring maw took 3 team members in with it. Look at how Nugent, he just immediately popped up that strength. Has to try to get off as much healing as he can, but he's split from the team. Doesn't seem to actually affect him too much. Down Lu is actually has to pop out the incubation into the back while 2 team members of APM go down on the left-hand side. The Uther did drop, but he is ghost form Uther. He's still going to get those stuns, and that was a silly move there from Zagara. She did not need to die, I don't feel. But a 3 for 2. The level advantage really paying out nicely there, but the great Maw just set them all up there from Happy Fairy Dragons. And now they're going to take forts, and look at this, a Dragon Knight number 2 coming their way.
Uncontested.
Absolutely. Stray just used the battle dive to get up to the top. He stage dive top and took out the fort. Global presence is definitely a very useful mechanic.
Yeah, very cool to see some of those strengths of ETC coming out. Like we said, it's been a while since we've seen a lot of ETC, so fun to see him back in the fray. We have the Dragon Knight all by himself here in mid. Oh, Stray coming down to help. Good. 3 on a Dragon Knight is, even though he's a battle lizard, it is a little bit scary. And the hook on a dragon.
Oh, that hook was actually really good. Hook into the roots. There's the stun, but it's a little bit too late. It's not going to be able to kill the dragon right now. But even if the dragon does pop out, I believe that's Thrall in there. So, if Thrall does pop, and it was Thrall, he could just immediately use Earthquake. Or, sorry, not Earthquake, Sundering. He has Sundering as his ultimate. And just stun everyone and run away. So even if he was that far forward, unless he got gorged immediately, it wasn't going to be a kill for APM. And now we got this 5-man collapse. Now Furion by himself, he's going to drop a nice 4-man Starfall, but that's just going to lead into a collapse on top of Tyrex. And, well, she's dead in the water too. Lovers unite in the Emerald Dream, I suppose.
Your beautiful eyebrows pointing at each other greenly.
This bottom lane push, I feel, is going to be pretty deadly. Unless you get a hook on top of down Lu, is that going to be outside the gate? It will. Doesn't matter. The towers will take him home. Nice try from Stray, but oh well.
And Sergeant Hammer plugging away down here on her own in the bot lane, able to step back from those towers and just wail on them. But as soon as she sees some enemies coming her way, she's going to have to get out of there because she is not much better than Squishy.
She doesn't have any default escapes. I mean, you can get bolt at 20, but we're at 18 as it is.
We are blessed.
And actually, that's a good point. Happy Fairy Dragons turning 19 and pushing toward that 20, where the actions per minute are still at 17. So if they manage to get that 20, they're going to be looking for a team fight, wanting to take out all of their opponents so that they can have an easy time of grabbing yet another Dragon Knight and pushing that mid even further.
And there's the timer, speaking of, 30 seconds and the shrines will activate. So any kill in the next 30 seconds before shrines activate could dictate who gets the shrines and who gets the dragon. And right now, Stray, he got, it was Buds that got hooked, but the stun on top of Stray, they're on the retreat. They know what's up. They do not want to be fighting right now. They want to wait for these cooldowns. We still got 26 seconds on Devouring Maw. And at the same time, they know that if somebody drops this next team fight, it's going to be massive damage from either side. Whoever gets that dragon is going to take forts or keeps, almost guaranteed.
Yeah, absolutely. Falling back, trying to continue building just a little more XP so they can get to that 20. It looks like they may not be able to before they start fighting over these shrines.
Well, we do have... It's interesting how both teams kind of polarized into the separate polls. You know, the North Shrine has a 5-man presence. The bottom shrine is a 5-man. Of course, we have a bruiser camp we can push out here, and they're probably going to push that into a fort. And if they do that, I think they might be a little bit too overextended because we do got this train coming down from the top. And if they do push it out and they got caught, that could be the end of the game. And I think they know that, and they do. They're going to move out. There goes the stage dive. Well, that's one heroic.
They are grabbing that bottom shrine, although they won't.
Zagara. Oh, no.
And devoured.
Oh, but there's no follow-up. No follow-up. That actually could be the downfall right now of APM. They had the chance to make it a 5-on-4, but they funneled everyone into the small little area. The stun. Somebody stunned out the Zeebo. And that means that they're all going to live. Well, okay, maybe 3 of them against it, because Panda is going to get caught out there. The zombie wall really good at denies, right? But, yeah, I don't know. That seems just very sloppy. Very big.
Yeah, ETC kind of wandered out there with the Death Wish, and once that happened, they didn't have much chance with the low HP and being kind of pushed back into the corner. That was not a great engage for them.
Absolutely not. And again, I gotta say, funneling them into this little corridor that goes down to the bruiser camp, that is like, that's the money shot for Mr. Savage. That's the best Ravenous he could ask for in that situation. But somebody stunned him out. I don't know if it was Hammer or ETC or oh, it was probably actually the Sundering from Thrall, if I have to think about it, because there's nobody there. But the Sundering from Thrall is a great anti-Nazebo tool, probably.
And it was just in time because Happy Fairy Dragons have hit 20, so if they were allowed to do that, you know, before the denouement of that team fight, there would have been trouble for Actions per minute.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great time for Actions to fight, and they got the 2 kills. They didn't take home any forts, and they don't have a dragon. So I lied. They do have a dragon. So again, whoever gets the dragon is likely to take out some forts, and that's what they're going to be aiming to do. Even though they're not 20, they need to get these towers and a fort to try to bridge that gap.
And as you can see, this later game dragon is a lot stronger. Just a few hits take down those towers and wall.
Yep, 420 auto attack, and I think double damage is what, 840?
Oh, that hook into the zombie wall for Inkling. He is not going to make it out, but luckily, oh, he did. He made it out. I lied to you.
How dare you? Uther's going to be okay. The Ravenous did get interrupted again by that Sundering Stray, really trying to push forward. Sage is in this dragon. They don't have a Vala for this fight. Their big range damage is not there because she's in the dragon. There we go. Now she's going to be out, but could this actually be bad positioning for APM? A Hackage gets caught out. There goes the Rain of Vengeance, but the kill on the non-kill on Uther really coming back to bite them in the butt. And now Sage, he gets blinked on top of, still doesn't have 20, doesn't have this escape ready to go. Sray and Buds, yeah, blink forward from Dawn as well is going to be the hat trick for them as they take home 3 kills, defeat the dragon, and now we're going to go for this top piece.
Oh man, that non-kill on Uther, like you said, has got to hurt. Who knows whether they thought he was down as well and started to focus on someone else. But now they've got Uther, they've got healing, they've got the push, they've got 21. Things are looking up for the Happy Fairy Dragons.
What was it? Just like last game, you know, level 20 to almost level 20. It's the worst thing to die if you're on the blue team right now because you're so close. But they can't contest. Nobody's dead here. Fairy Dragons come back. They take the keep. They suffer no losses. They're going to take these bruisers and deny that to their opponents. And we're still waiting for 20. Thankfully, we're soaking a little bit bottom, and there it is, finally. Even talents, despite the 1 level difference. And Fairy Dragons, I don't know, it's still anybody's game, I feel. I mean, we're basically, yeah, we're 3 forts up, but 1 team wipe on either side could actually be the game.
Yeah, and I think this is smart of Fairy Dragons to know that it could still go either way, and they want to take the best advantage they possibly can that will do the most damage to their enemy and give them the most benefit. So taking their Merc camp on their side of the map, it's a great thing to do, to fall back, not push too hard, not engage when they're still so close in levels, and instead making sure that they control all the mercenary camps on the map so that they can then push alongside those mercenary camps and hopefully be able to get to that core.
Zagara off soloing the bruisers up there on her creep, does have increased health regen on that creep as well. So she's not the best jungling choice, but in a pinch, she can definitely do it with her summons, can easily do it with incubation and a nice creep tumor. But All of red, once again, going to be heading up top. Looks like they're going to try to secure north while actions permit. Going to go secure the bottom. They're also going to clean up some of these siege minions. Going to be moving on, so that will not be a factor later on. Something they will have to consider is that there's going to be multiple catapults stacking into the top lane, and that will eventually ding itself all the way to the core. But if they can make amends until then it shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Yeah, and Happy Fairy Dragons does have this advantage in the top lane. They've got the Knights pushing there as well. So although the Dragon is the focus right now and we've got this massive team fight going on in the bot lane, in the back of their mind, actions per minute must know they're on a clock.
Yeah, Panda was the one that got actually hooked, but there was no big follow-up there. You can see him still alive. Inkling, once again, really low hit points, doesn't go down. Mr. Savage with that Ravenous can't make it happen. Vala's going to be the one that dropped with Tyran, and that's likely it for the Meadowtown. Way there in the back. Buds blinks forwards, gets the kill on top of Malfurion, and they're looking for the team wipe, but the Wolf does not connect. It looks like Nazeeba will see fight to see another day and commune with those spirits. But Sray, he just stage dived in looking for the kill on Savage. That will be the team wipe, but Zagara is the one actually paid for it. Mr. Savage is still going. He was able to take a kill, but despite the good news, there's just too much bad news. And the Happy Fairy Dragon will actually tie up the series 1-1.
And an interesting instinct there, knowing that they could just dive on in and take this core instead of falling back more conservatively, taking a dragon or, making sure that they could all live through it. They just said, nope, we know we can get this core. Let's put our tanks on it and just wail on it. And they did.
Having double siege, late game, both alive, and you got a naked core? Well then, let's just win the game.
We'll take it. Well done.
Yeah, it is actually a really nice call. And they tied up. They actually tied up 1-1. Really good news for them. Yeah, absolutely. So, wow, we're going to a game 3. Just letting it all sink in there. Did I just hit? I have no idea what's going on with my thing, but whatever. Webcams are up.
Amateur League, woohoo!
Bam. There we go. All right. I don't know what it is with this game, but my UI has totally failed me. So I once again apologize for all those mix-ups. But Anna was here to carry me, so it's all good. And the Happy Fairy Dragons carried themselves to a nice victory. 1-1. The double siege worked out yet again. That's twice now on Dragonshire. We've seen double siege comps and win.
Yes, I'm really liking the Siege Sisters. Siege Sisters, as I'm going to start.
Because they are both female, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm into it. So I hope maybe we'll even see more of them. But I'm looking forward to this game 3. Always good when teams are so evenly matched that we get really intense fights like this. And looking forward to game 3. Absolutely.
So what are we going to see? What map will it be? Not sure, but that's why you guys are going to have to stay tuned to find out, because Anna Prosser and I are not going anywhere. Although, 12:20, where did the time go? We started this at 8. 4.5 hours in, and we still have grand finals left to play. Winners finals left to play. We're in for the long haul, Miss Anna.
We're here for as long as it takes, forecourt.
All right, so we'll continue this journey when we return. See you in a few.